Hey guys, guess what? Yep, still writing a book. My third book, 365 Days to Good Morning, Good Life, is almost here. I swear. When it's finally out into the world, it's going to be like birthing a second child in the space of a year. Oh my gosh, did we need that graphic visual? I don't know. But it is coming, I promise. I'm so excited about it. It is a daily reader to help you start your day on your terms, and it is a spinoff of my second book, Good Morning, Good Life, the ultimate morning routine manual. So all kinds of good vibes happening here, something to help you when it comes to keeping your mindset straight when going after the life you want. But I wanted to pop on here to make sure that you're one of the first to find out when the book arrives. And you can be one of those people by joining my email list for the book squad. That's right. The link is in the show notes for this podcast. Jump on so that you're one of the first to find out so you can snag your copy, maybe even get a little sneak peek before anyone else. All the details are in the notes, and I cannot wait to see the book finally in your hands. I needed to hire an assistant. I could not hire an assistant. I didn't have the money to hire an assistant, but I could pretend to hire an assistant. Welcome to Detail Therapy, where we come together to talk about how to create more confidence and build a business worth going all in on so you can go after the life you want. Subscribe for good vibes, and let's dive in. Yes, it is true. Years ago, I had a fake assistant. When I first started my career, the hardest thing about it was wanting to be more legitimate and higher level than I actually was. But when you're first starting on a business, you don't have a ton of resources, you can barely make enough money to pay yourself, and no one's taking you seriously, not even you. One thing that I realized was holding me back when it came to reaching my potential and making more money is that it was a little too intimate in negotiations, whether I was trying to do a speaking engagement or bring on a new client. Dealing with me directly was causing my operation to look as small as it actually was. Which was allowing people to see that they could just ask me for the favor of lowering my prices for them or changing things up to make it just perfect for the way that they wanted it. And when you're not feeling confident, this is a complete and total disaster. You take on clients because you need to cash the check, and they end up being the most annoying clients you'll ever have. The lessons that you learn early on, you're like, I don't want this anymore. Those who haggle with you the most tend to be the ones who are the most demanding. So anyway, that's a story for another day, but the issue was that there was no system in place. I finally realized that if I wanted the legitimacy that I was hoping for in my business, I needed to implement it no matter what it took immediately. First step being, I needed to hire an assistant. I could not hire an assistant. I didn't have the money to hire an assistant, but I could pretend to hire an assistant. This was far and away one of the best things I ever did to set myself up for success in the long run for two reasons. First, legitimacy. When you emulate the result of where you want to be, others feel it. And it goes from being a conversation of how it all could work to how we do things. And the second reason is because it ended up giving me more time. Now, how is that possible? If you are going to play the role of your fake assistant, how are you actually getting more time? Well, at first, it may not seem like it, but because of the fact that you can switch gears between when you are yourself and when you are doing administrative tasks as your assistant, the blocking of that is really effective, and you're setting up a process where someone in the future, when you're ready to hire, will be able to step in and understand how you want the job to be done quicker than if you were training from scratch. Now, if you're thinking about tearing down this idea because a fake assistant lacks authenticity and transparency, no problem, don't do it. I genuinely don't think you should do something that you don't believe in. But if you are bootstrapping in your business and you'll do whatever it takes to get to the next level, you might want to consider this because it could completely change the game for you as it did for me. All right, I'm gonna break this down for you step by step completely, but before you go, make sure you check out the downloadable PDF in the description because I have written it all out for you there as well. As the saying goes, you need to spend money to make money, but in this case, not a lot. You're going to be spending on something very smart that you would probably do anyway, but I just want to remind you. You need a vanity URL for your business. This is very important for legitimacy, and it's going to help us on the email front. If you have a legitimate business, you can spring for $10 a year or less for the URL of your choice. So let's say you're a vegan cookie company. You might buy vegandelights.com. Or maybe you're a personally branded business like me. I own amylandino.com. You could be charlottejones.com. Acquire that URL, buy it, own it, okay? We're gonna use it. Once you have it, head over to Google for Business or something like that so you can set up your email addresses with your vanity URL. And once you have the capability of doing this, we can hire your fake assistant. First, you of course need an email for yourself, but this is specifically and only for the CEO, the talent, the top dog. When someone is speaking with you directly, you need charlotte@charlottejones.com. Next, and this is key, we're gonna set up a separate inbox with a different email address. And this, yes, you guessed it, is for your fake assistant. There are a couple of ways that you can do this. You can have a hello inbox, you can have a team inbox, so essentially hello@vegandelights.com or team@charlottejones.com. This is gonna be a lot more versatile. Somebody who you hire in the future is gonna be able to jump in there and they're not going to need a new email address. But to me, when you're first starting out and this is a fake assistant encounter, I always find that you get more confidence if you name your assistant. There's just something about it that makes it feel more personal when you are connecting your assistant's inbox to a contact or to a potential client. And you don't have the imposter syndrome of being like, oh, this is my team, and not really getting into the mode of, no, we have a system here and there is someone who handles this for me. So of course the second option is just to name your assistant. Maybe you love the name Stanley. Welcome to Vegan Delights, Stanley. It's stanley@vegandelights.com. Or hey, Gertrude, I am so excited for you to get started with us. Gertrude@charlottejones.com. If you then have a name, it's a lot easier in those emails to say, okay, I'm connecting you to Gertrude and she's gonna help us stay organized here. I would like to sidebar very quickly and discuss sexism when it comes to your fake assistant. I was very surprised with TikTok when I shared this process over there and I got a lot of comments of people saying, oh yeah, I have an alter ego, I have a fake assistant and it's a dude, it's a male. And to that, I found that very interesting. I have never really studied this. I have never decided, oh, I'm gonna use a man's name versus a woman's name to see if they're treated better. But if you are practicing growing a business and being a leader, if you think for some reason that a man as an assistant is going to be treated better or communicated with more effectively than a woman, then you're actually not going to get a lot more practice in being the biggest advocate and cheerleader for your team. Anytime I've ever had someone communicate with my real or fake assistant in a derogatory or negative or infuriating way, I found out really quickly who I was gonna do business with and who I wasn't. So, if you decide that your assistant needs to be a male for some reason, if that helps you from a confidence standpoint, do you? But yeah, I actually think you'll learn a lot about email communication in general, and I would really hope that one of those things is advocating for anyone you decide to hire. Hey, let's take just a second. I wanted to let you know that the episode of Detail Therapy that you are listening to right now, the value that you are soaking up in those earbuds, it's actually an episode of Amy TV. If you didn't know, I publish videos on a regular basis over at youtube.com/Amy TV, and we thought this episode would be an excellent one to bring over here to Detail Therapy. But if you wanted it sooner, if you wanted all of the goodness that is included with watching a video as well as listening to it, then you got to make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Head over to youtube.com/Amy TV and make sure you tune in for new uploads over there. But for now, let's get back to this little Amy TV throwback. Okay, it's time to start implementing the process with your fake assistant. First of all, we have to put this email address in critical places. So think about your social platforms where there's a one tap to send us an email. That should go to your admin email address, not to your personal. Maybe you have a media kit. Stick your fake assistant email on that media kit as the main point of contact. I don't like to deal with any of my emails in my personal inbox because it's a hot mess anyway. And so anything that I would like to keep organized, I would connect my assistant to make sure that they can keep tabs on me and that person. So that it should be no different when it's a fake assistant that's involved. If for no other reason, it's just in a more organized space where emails do need to be followed up on much more diligently. The key here is that you just start leveraging your assistant's email on a much more regular basis. It'll give you a lot more practice with having a team, and ultimately, we're flexing the muscle of taking those administrative duties that eventually you would want off your plate and sending them to where they would go. So anything that you can think of that you would want to hire someone for to handle, whether it's arranging for a dentist appointment or scheduling your coffee meetings or making sure that you have somewhere to shoot your next YouTube video, start copying your email for your fake assistant on that correspondence so that eventually that process in the future is going to be so much easier to delegate. Initially, you're probably not going to feel like there's a whole lot of time that you save with this process. But I actually disagree. If you use it right, you can get your time back immediately by having this process in place. First of all, we waste a lot of time in email. You have emails that require a very thoughtful response, some that are research driven, some that are spam, some that are shopping, some that are administrative and bills and a lot of other things in between. So because we go to our inbox and we get all types of things like that, it can be daunting and really exhausting to try to go through it all. And so we'll skip the really heavy and crazy hard ones and do the menial stuff. Or we'll be like, oh, I don't have time for the menial stuff right now, even though that's easier and I'm definitely not wrapping my head around this. So we skip over it altogether. If you can at least pare down your own inbox and get the administrative tasks to the right place, you're going to be able to start saving time by checking your own email and when you're dealing with those administrative tasks. Now, when you put on that like alter ego of I am Gertrude, I am going to reply to my admin stuff, I'm going to start scheduling some appointments, I'm going to start booking some things, you're in that mode, it's doer mode. And so when you go to do those emails, you know what you're going to get when you get there because it's a very intentional place for where you deal with the details. And so if you actually block time for fake assistant emails, it is getting a lot more time back. You are much more efficient in getting those things done. And then you can get back to your CEO hat, your talent hat in, let's say, your other inbox or actually doing real work. The biggest thing here is to be very intentional when you are working through your fake assistant emails, because eventually we don't want a fake assistant, we want a real one. We want someone who actually handles this stuff. So the better you label things, the better you put things in folders, maybe you save some copy that you tend to use a lot as canned copy, then that's going to really, really help in the future when you want to onboard somebody much more quickly and give them a place where they can see literally how you would handle that type of communication. Probably one of the most valuable aspects of this tactic is the gatekeeper effect. Just by taking yourself out of a couple steps of a process where it is appropriate, it really allows you to be able to do business on your own terms. So whether it's negotiating pricing or whether you just need somebody to gracefully say, Amy doesn't have time for that, or she doesn't want to do that, or she doesn't have time to go to coffee with you, or something like that. That's really what this inbox has the ability to help you do. And that is a massive time saver. Let me tell you something, Olivia, my previous fake assistant, Olivia was ruthless, okay? When Amy was not available to do something or Amy did not have energy to do something, Olivia just took it right out. Especially for maybe those brand deals that they're not gonna pay you enough, or that client that wants to fully customize a package and then pay very little for it. You need someone to say, that's not how we do things. And mean it when they say we. And by the way, it's just business. Anyone who takes this personal is not seeing the vision, and they're probably not somebody that you're gonna work very well with anyway. If someone is irritated because you brought your assistant into things, whether they're real or fake, this happens with real assistants all the time. Oh, you passed me off? Yeah. You should be doing the same thing. You should be making better use of your time than sending 10 or 20 emails back and forth of when would be a good time to get on a Zoom call. One of my top favorite things in the world to hear from someone is this feedback. Oh my gosh, I wish I had a Gertrude. I wish I had a Hannah. That tells me that my assistant is representing me so well that the perception of our business and the way we get things done is appreciated by someone else, and they're having a good experience with my company. That's customer service. And that is what matters in growing something to last a very, very long time. So how your assistant represents you is very important, which is why I want you to have the right hat on when you have the fake assistant mode going, because that person is emulating what the success and processes of your business is going to look like. So people know that you are more than just an individual figuring it all out. We're all individuals just figuring it all out. So there's no reason why you need to hit some arbitrary metric or moment or revenue status to be able to give yourself that legitimacy. You're actually gonna reach it sooner by implementing something that looks like it now. When it comes to the legitimacy of your business, you are the only thing holding you back. I'm hoping that the fake assistant technique or something like it could be very helpful with you in increasing your confidence for doing your absolute best work. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. As always, remember, subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and go after the life you want. I'll see you back here on the next one. Cheers.